Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Continuing Education, Certificate Programs, Certificate in Nutrition and Childcare, CNCC, CNCC-1, Nutrition for the Community. Block-7 Quantity Cooking. Unit-27 Setting up the Food Service Establishment. 27.1 Introduction. In the previous unit, you learned about Lakshmi's idea and how she set about to make it a reality. You might have realized that for any project to be successful, should be planned properly and every phase of it is chalked out meticulously. Also, to run an enterprise, resources are required, the very first being money. Money in turn would help buy the other resources, i.e. food material, utensils, equipment, and help hire the services of people who can help cook, pack and deliver the product. In this unit, we will study how Lakshmi executed her plan and how she utilized the money judiciously in obtaining the resources. Her experience with every operation she performed, that is, purchasing, receiving, storage, issuing, food production, packing, delivery, has been documented in this unit so as to understand how to run a food service establishment. Objectives. After studying this unit, you will be able to times purchase equipments necessary for a food service unit, times select a suitable method of purchase for raw food material, times appropriately receive and store the raw food material, times execute effectively the production of menu items, times adopt a suitable delivery system to suit your customer, and times select the necessary manpower. 27.2 Food service operations. An outline of the typical operations in a food service establishment is presented in flow chart 1. As seen in the flow chart and also is evident from the study of the previous unit, consumer needs and organizational objectives are the initial driving forces for a food service establishment. In the case of Lakshmi, we saw how she decided to start the business of providing snacks and meals with the objective of generating an income. The first step she took toward meeting this objective was to identify the consumer's needs. Once the consumer's need was known, she planned the menu. Menu planning, you would have realized, is the most critical focal point of all activities in a food service establishment. What foods need to be produced, what needs to be served, what equipment and number of utensils would be necessary to run the unit, how many people, manpower, would one need to help cook, pack and deliver the items. All these decisions are based on the menu. Once the food, equipment and manpower needs are identified, the next step is to obtain these resources. What are the procedures involved in obtaining these resources? This section presents a detailed discussion on this aspect. In addition, the activities undertaken in performing the two primary functions, I, production and 2, service, in any food service establishment, as indicated in the flowchart, are also documented. Here, we begin the study of these operations with Lakshmi's experience in purchasing equipment. Flowchart 1, an outline of the typical operations in a food service unit. Look at the screen for table content. 27 February 2001, purchasing equipment. You may recall that while planning the budget, Lakshmi had given first priority to the expenditure on capital investment, that is the money necessary for buying the utensils and the necessary equipments. So, armed with the list of utensils and equipments planned to be purchased, Lakshmi went to the offices of manufacturers and shops of dealers of these items. She first went to the dealers, who were dealing with large utensils. In the shop, she became confused with the variety and choices of utensils available for various purposes. There were utensils made of aluminium, brass, alloy, and stainless steel. Which one of these should she buy? Lakshmi was confused. She decided to base her purchase on metal quality, strength, durability, ease of maintenance and cleaning and cost. Based on these criteria, she selected some aluminium utensils for rough work like washing, alloy vessels for cooking, iron vessels for frying and stainless steel vessels for storing cooked food before packing. Next, she went to the dealers dealing with cutlery, spoons and other common utensils used in the food service establishments. Here, Lakshmi was shown a variety of knives, ladles, and spoons, A list of common utensils used in food service establishments is attached in Appendix 1. From among these items she picked up a few knives, spoons, ladles, peeler, grater etc. The list of the utensils purchased by her is given in Chart 1. You are listening to this audiobook on Audio Learn IGNOU. Chart 1, Equipment purchased by Lakshmi. Look at the screen for table content. Thus the expenditure on utensils and spoons came to Rs. 5,500. The other items she purchased were labor-saving devices like a mixer blender and a wet grinder. While estimating the cost she had obtained the prices of these items from the market. What motivated her to purchase these items? Lakshmi felt that to produce large quantities of food on time some labor-saving devices should be purchased. So she went for these equipments. Now she visited the dealers and saw the different brands of mixer blenders available in the market. To choose the right one from the different brands and models available she had to set some guidelines. Taking all her requirements into consideration, Lakshmi determined that she would purchase a blender that satisfied the following conditions. Times that it is sturdy and made of unbreakable material. Times it is dismantleable and easily cleanable. Times maintenance is easy and spare parts are easily available. Times adequate guarantee period is prescribed. Times quality is ensured by IS.1 certificate. Times it can work non-stop for a minimum of 30 minutes. Times it can do more than 2 functions like dry grinding, liquidizing and mincing. Times it is manufactured by a reputed company and times it is within the price range estimated. After assessing the various brands and models on the basis of these specifications, Lakshmi finally made the choice for one mixer blender which satisfied most of these conditions. She applied the same criteria in the purchase of the wet grinder also. One caution she took in this purchase was to see that the wet grinder is not very big as to take too much space in her kitchen. The other major equipments that she had to purchase were the commercial burner, weighing balance, refrigerator and hot case. Lakshmi had a refrigerator at home, and she felt that this would suffice her purpose in the beginning and, therefore, postponed the purchase of the refrigerator till the unit was established as a profitable one. Later on, when she bought one she was careful to buy one with a double door to make sure that adequate and separate provision for both freezer and the cool unit is available to prevent the intermingling of odors of foodstuffs stored in it. The refrigerator was to be used primarily for storing perishable food items and to keep leftover foodstuffs, which she could incorporate into the next day's menu, without affecting the quality. The hot case was purchased to keep the cooked food hot before packing and delivery. Items like weighing balance and a commercial burner with its gas cylinder were an absolute necessity to start the work. These were bought using the quotations she had obtained when estimating the price. For the gas cylinders, she had to register her name with a gas agency and had to submit an application for gas cylinders for commercial use. When allotted she deposited the required security money for the gas cylinders. The total expenditure on the mixer blender, wet grinder, commercial burners, hot case and the refrigerator was within the estimated cost as she purchased these items from the manufacturers and could also avail of the off-season discount for the refrigerator. On delivery of these equipment, she checked the components with the instruction manual to make sure that all the prescribed accessories are supplied with it. The above discussion documents Lakshmi's experience in purchasing equipment. The key points to remember while purchasing equipment are listed in Recap 1. Recap 1. Key points to remember while purchasing equipment. 1. First assess the need. 2. Next, decide on the list of equipment to be purchased. 3. Estimate the expenditure by obtaining the prices of these items from different sources. 4. Set guidelines specifications for the purchase of these items. 5. Select after careful consideration ensuring that the equipment satisfies the required specification. Check your progress exercise. 1. 1. Alka has to buy an oven for baking. What criteria should she draw to select it? List any 4 criteria. 2. Before the purchase of an equipment a market survey is done to find out what specific aspects of the product. List them down. After the purchase of equipment, the next item Lakshmi had to purchase was the raw food material. What methods of purchase did she adopt? What precautions for maintaining quality did she take? After the purchases, how was the food received, stored and issued for preparation? How was it served? The following discussion presents Lakshmi's experiences with every activity she performed in food production and service operations. 27th February 2002, Food Production and Service. The very first activity in food production is the purchase of raw food materials. The purchase of food materials we learned is dependent on the menu. Menu, we know, refers to the list of food items and dishes served in a meal. Based on the items to be served, refer to Unit 26, subsection 26 March 2002, Lakshmi decided on a purchase schedule. The schedule is as follows. Chart 2, Purchase Schedule. Look at the screen for table content. How much of each item should she buy? This was the next consideration for Lakshmi. The quantities to be purchased at one time were once again based on the menu and the number of people to be catered to. While planning, we learned in the last unit that Lakshmi had decided that she would provide a certain amount of each item per person in the lunch. For example, 80-100 g cereal, 30 grams pulse, 100-150 vegetables and 100 milliliters curd. Using this information, she calculated the total quantity to be purchased at a time as per the frequency of purchase decided above. In the case of vegetables, she especially assessed the edible portions of each item and accordingly worked out the quantities that were to be purchased in making vegetable pulav. The edible portion of few vegetables and the quantity to be purchased per person is given in Chart 3. You are listening to this audiobook on Audio Learn IGNOU. Chart 3, Edible portion of few vegetables. Look at the screen for table content. It can be seen from Chart 3 that some vegetables like cabbage and spinach lose their weight substantially while cooking due to their high moisture content, whereas vegetables like peas yield the lesser amount of edible portions as they come with pods and stalk, which are inedible. However, their cooking loss is minimum. It is, therefore, necessary to make allowances for these losses while planning the purchasing units. While purchasing other commodities such as fats and cereals, Lakshmi decided to buy them in packets which were economically feasible. For example, she found that for 10 days she would require 10 to 15 kilograms of oil and that it would be more economical to buy 15 kilograms tin of oil than purchasing 5 kg tins, as there was a wide disparity between the price of these two packings. The same principle she applied while purchasing rice, wheat flour and some other condiments. Having decided on the quantities of the items to be purchased, the frequency of purchase, depending on the type of food, availability and consumption, the next thing Lakshmi decided was the mode of purchase. Let us learn what method of purchase Lakshmi adopted. Food purchase methods. Lakshmi decided that in all purchases she should be able to get the maximum in terms of quantity and quality for the price she would be paying. For her household purchases earlier, Lakshmi had resorted to different methods of buying. For instance, for non-perishables like cereals, pulses and condiments, she used to depend on a cooperative consumer store, Super Bazaar. Items which were not available there were purchased from other retail provision stores, but only after comparing the prices in two other shops. For some items, she used to rely on a particular shop which had a reputation for fair price and good quality. Lakshmi had also purchased vegetables and fruits in bulk from wholesale markets to make pickles and squashes. In this way, she had a good knowledge of all the markets. Here you may observe that Lakshmi in her day-to-day life had made purchases from the wholesale market, retail market and cooperative store. This experience was useful to her in buying for this venture also. Most of the cereals, pulses, condiments and spices, she purchased from a cooperative store as she knew that there was an assurance of quality and their prices were reasonable. An idea about the different methods of purchase is presented in Appendix 2 at the end of the block. While purchasing packed condiments and spices, Lakshmi took extra precaution to note that they were produced by reputable manufacturers and that it had a mark, PFA or FPO certificate. You might be aware that these are indications which signify quality assurance. But in the day-to-day work, Lakshmi very soon realized that she may not be able to do the purchasing herself every time. Sometimes she had to rely either on her helper or on one of the delivery boys to do the marketing for her. To communicate better as to what was required to be purchased and to minimize chances of ambiguity, she drew up the detail of each item to be purchased. First, she wrote the name of the item. Next gave a vivid but precise description of its quality and quantity in terms of number, weight, and size, the price at which this item was to be bought, from where to be bought and how to make the purchase. In other words, she wrote down the specifications. Specification may be defined as the description of a particular commodity in terms of its size, quality or condition. A sample of a specification is given in Chart 4. Chart 4. Specification for purchase of vegetables, cereals and pulses. Look at the screen for table content. Lakshmi found that with this specification any other person too could buy the commodities and satisfy the norms of quantity and quality. She then segregated the items that would need her decision for purchase and those which could be purchased by others. Items which were bought once a week and those that involved large quantities and money were purchased by her. For items like milk, she gave instructions to be delivered at her place daily. For vegetables and fruits, she authorized her helper to do the purchasing as per her specifications. From the discussion above we learned how Lakshmi did the purchasing of the raw food commodities. Lakshmi could do the purchasing economically and efficiently as she had systematically planned and executed the purchasing program. What were the steps followed by her? Recap. 2 recalls the steps to be followed in the purchase of raw food material. Recap. 2. The steps to be followed for the purchase of raw food commodities include 1. Determine the type and quantity of the raw food material to be bought. 2. Locate the market. 3. Select the right method of purchase. 4. Use specifications in terms of quality and quantity. And 5. Schedule the purchase. Check your progress exercise 2. 1. Define the following. A. Specification. B. Edible portion. 2. What method of purchase can you adopt to purchase the following items? Rice, fruits, vegetables, dal, oil, spices. Once the raw food items are purchased, the primary function of any food service establishment is 1. To convert these raw food items into cooked products, i.e., production, and 2. Serve. What are the activities included in these 2 functions? Let us consider. Along with purchasing, receiving, storage and preparation, are the other activities technically included within the production function. Refer to flow chart 1. Packing and delivery are the activities specific to the service function. Let us read about Lakshmi's experience in these operations. We begin with the receiving activity. Receiving. Any commodity purchased should be checked on receipt for its quality and quantity to ensure that we have received the right amount and right quality of the material. This checking can be done at the premises of purchase when we supervise the transaction or at the premises when it is delivered. What are the things one needs to check at the time of receiving? The following aspects pertaining to the quantity and quality of the delivered goods should be carefully checked. 1. Weigh and or count, check and record each item properly on receiving. Check the quantities indicated on the label, particularly for any open packages. 2. Ascertain the quality and wholesomeness of the delivered foods by verifying quality against specifications. Aspects that should be considered include quality certification, i.e., ISI, UGMARK, FPO, etc., brand name, ingredient label, and grade. Verification. 3. Check the perishables like fresh fruit, vegetables for size, color, texture. Look for damages and infestation. 4. Item bought loose should be checked for spoilage, infestation and its color and texture. Example, maida, besan, suji. 5. For canned products. Packaging date, expiry date, batch number should be checked. Any sign of bulging, damage, leakage, undesirable odor, discoloration should be checked. 6. For milk and milk products, check for any signs of spoilage, rancid odors in butter, soreness in curd, curdling in milk. After receiving the food items, next we need to store the items carefully. The next Section discusses the points to be kept in mind while storing food items. Storing. The following points should be kept in mind while storing food items. 1. All items received and checked should be appropriately stored to prevent deterioration of quality and pilferage. Those items that need room temperature storage should be sorted out, and perishables should be immediately stored at the right temperature if they are not to be used immediately. Items such as cereals and pulses, condiments, spices, bottled and packed items can be safely stored at room temperature. All commodities will retain their quality only if they are stored in a clean place in a proper manner. 2. The storeroom should be well ventilated to allow air circulation and reduce humidity. 3. Appropriate storage space in the form of racks and airtight containers should be provided in the store. 4. The store should be systematically maintained, that is, place for everything and everything in its place. This enables optimum utilization of the storage space and also facilitates the easy location of the items. 5. The placement of commodities should follow the first in, TRST out policy, FIFO. That is, the older commodity should be placed in front of the shelf so that they are used earlier. A good purchasing system ensures that the next lot arrives before the first lot is completely exhausted. 6. Items that come in paper packets or sachets once opened should be transferred to airtight containers to ensure the retention of its quality. Proper label for each container should be ensured. This helps to locate the commodity without any waste of time. 7. The storeroom should be preferably kept locked and open only for issues to safeguard the commodities from pilferage. 8. The store should be kept clean and free from rodents, insects and pests. You may have noted that Lakshmi had allotted a room adjacent to the kitchen for the store. This room she made sure had a window with wire netting which allowed adequate air circulation. The room had concrete shelves on one side, and the sacks and bins storing cereals were kept on the lower platform of the shelf, which was about 6 inches above the floor level. The pulses and other commodities were stored in airtight containers and placed on the shelf. Food items that came in poly packs were kept in one of the shelves. She also had an adjustable rack, which was used for storing bottles, tins, etc. The old tins were kept in one corner of the room on a quota stone platform. A section of the store was segregated to accommodate the disposable cartons and material for packing, and another corner was earmarked for storing cleaning agents and detergents. She had also equipped the store with a balance to check the weight of the purchased items and to issue the items. Here you see that though Lakshmi had limited space for storage, a good systematic storage procedure helped her to accommodate most of the items that needed storage. The perishable items like vegetables, milk, curd, etc. were to be provided suitable storage space. Lakshmi minimized the storing of perishable items by buying such commodities either on daily basis or by buying a day or two in advance. The refrigerator was purchased with the objective of temporarily storing vegetables for a day and accommodating any leftover food. Lakshmi's daily need for vegetables ranged between 15 to 20 kilograms, and she could easily accommodate this amount of perishable vegetables in the refrigerator. Items like potatoes, onions and some other vegetables, which could be stored at room temperature, were kept outside the fridge. The freezer was mostly used for storing leftover food to enable its use in the next day's menu. The refrigerator was also used for storing leftover milk and curd. Proper storage of food at the right temperature ensures the availability of the right quality of raw material for the preparation of menu items. What is also important is to evolve a proper system of issue of food items that would ensure the availability of the right quantity of raw food material. Let us see how Lakshmi went about this activity. Proper storage of food at the right temperature ensures the availability of right quality of raw material for the preparation of menu items. What is also important is to evolve a proper system of issue of food items that would ensure availability of right quantity of raw food material. Let us see how Lakshmi went about this activity. Issuing. Issuing is the process by which the ingredients and other supplies are issued from the storage room to the area of work. The quantities of raw material to be issued from the store is based on the menu and also the number of customers to be catered to. Lakshmi, while planning the expenditure, had decided the quantities to be purchased. She used the same calculations to issue the material from the store also. The precaution she took was to check the number of customers that were to be served every day. While issuing the items, she also checked the refrigerator to see if any leftover food material from the previous day could be used in the day's menu. By issuing the specific quantities of items, she was assured of the yield and the number of portions. Lakshmi had adopted a proper system of issues. All the items were issued from the store at 7:00 am. Every day when the work started, and items that needed pre-preparation for the next day were issued at 3:00 pm. The previous day, she was responsible for determining the daily quantity and issuing the items from the store. She maintained a daily record of the items issued, which helped her to assess the balance available in the store. Constant checking of stores also helped to determine when the stores needed replenishing. The items were issued to the helper, who then processed it to make it ready for final preparation. The steps followed by Lakshmi while issuing food items are listed in Recap 3. These steps are handy guidelines to evolve proper system of issue. Recap 3. Steps in issuing raw food commodities. 1. Fix one time for issue of food material. 2. Determine the quantities to be issued beforehand, based on the menu and the number of customers to be served. 3. Maintain a daily record of the item issued. 4. Check the stock, food items in the store, to determine when the store needs replenishing. You have so far learned how Lakshmi went about purchasing the raw material, checking it on receiving, storing them at the proper place and evolving a system of issue. Now, you will learn how she transformed this raw food material into finished food items for delivery to the customers. Food preparation. Lakshmi undertook the responsibility of the cooking and maintenance of the quality of the food. The two delivery boys helped her in cleaning and chopping of the vegetables and grinding of the masala. The helper did the actual cooking, whereas Lakshmi used her talent and expertise to monitor the cooking. Her experience as a housewife helped her to determine the right amount of condiments and spices necessary to make a dish tasty. To bring about consistency in the menu items, she noted down the amount of the ingredients being used and formulated a standardized recipes. What do we mean by a standard recipe? A standardized recipe can be termed as a recipe which gives consistently the same results every time it is used. It gives the amount of ingredients to be used and the procedure to make a dish. It also specifies the yield, number of portions and the size of a portion. An example of standardized recipes is given in chart 5. Lakshmi started noting down the recipes so that in the event that he was unable to work on any day, the helper produce equally good quality food by adhering to the standardized recipe. You are listening to this audiobook on Audio Learn IGNOU. Chart 5. Standardized recipe for mixed vegetable pulav. Look at the screen for table content. Lakshmi used these standardized recipes subsequently to formulate a menu. The menu she adopted for a day was nutritionally adequate and well balanced because she included items of cereal, pulses, vegetables and curd in it. She brought about variety by varying the cereal, pulses and vegetables. Variety was also introduced by adopting different methods of cooking. For example, she sometimes served vegetables with pulses or vegetables in curd, or gave different kinds of rice such as vegetable pulav or boiled rice. Greater variety was introduced in vegetable by using seasonal vegetables. Lakshmi's culinary skills ensured that no vegetable dish was served more than once in the same way in a period of 2 weeks. Further, Lakshmi adopted a cycle menu to introduce variety and interest to the menu. You may recall reading about cycle menus and their advantages in Block 3, Unit 7. A sample of the cycle menu adopted by Lakshmi is given in chart 6. Chart 6, Cycle menu. Look at the screen for table content. Having a cycle menu helped Lakshmi to plan her purchases much before time. She was able to include variety by assessing the previous and later menu. The different menus could be standardized as they were being repeated after a period of time. She was also able to pre-plan and organize her preparation much better. Her labor force was also utilized better. You must have observed that Lakshmi had to plan the quantities of raw food material to be purchased and issued. She was able to do it accurately as she used the cycle menu and standardized recipes as guides. The cycle menu gave a clear picture of the menu before and after the day, thus helping her to avoid repetition and also enabling some change, if necessary. The cycle menu was flexible for change depending on what was available in the store. It enabled her to pre-plan her work so that she could complete her work within the targeted time. This was possible as the menu helped her to allot the work beforehand to the persons with the appropriate skill. You would have by now understood the relevance of a standardized recipe and cycle menu in quantity cooking. The menu forms the heart of a unit because all other activities evolve from the menu. The menu served as a guide to organize the work in the kitchen. Depending on the type of menu, Lakshmi organized the work in such a way that the food was ready about 1 hour prior to the delivery time. This precaution she had to take because some time was to be provided for packing and transportation of the packed meals to the office premises. While planning the food production, she planned some pre-preparation like the boiling of potatoes, chopping of onion and masala grinding to be done on the previous day. To shorten the cooking time on the next day, she adopted soaking of pulses overnight and cooking in pressure cookers to shorten the cooking time. She took into consideration the time taken for cooking the menu items in bulk while organizing the work. She divided the work among the workers so that all the activities were directed towards the completion of the menu within the specified time. The timetable she formulated for this purpose can be termed a production schedule. A production schedule explained in terms of one menu, i.e., vegetable pulav and pakova raita, is given in Chart 7. Chart 7, Production Schedule. Here you will observe that Lakshmi had taken into consideration the time taken for making each product and ensuring that it is ready for packing by 11 a.m. The food is packed and ready for service by 12:00 noon. Half an hour is given for transportation, with the objective that the food reaches the customer by 1:00 p.m. when the lunch break starts. Timing the production schedule properly is the best means to ensure that the menu is prepared as scheduled. This also ensures the best possible use of both time and labor. The above discussion documented Lakshmi's experience in food preparation operations. The salient points of this operation are summarized in Recap 4. Recap 4. To convert the raw food material to finished food product, i.e., the food preparation activity, the following points should be kept in mind. 1. Formulate use a standardized recipe. This will help bring about consistency in the preparation of menu items. 2. Introduce variety in the meals by adopting different methods of cooking, adopting a cycle menu, varying the cereal, pulse and vegetable items, using seasonal vegetables. 3. Work out a production schedule. This will help ensure that the menu is prepared as scheduled. Check your progress exercise 3. 1. If you were to issue food items, what points would you keep in mind while issuing the items? 2. If you were the store in charge, comment on how would you ensure that food items are always available in the store. 3. Standardized recipe gives information about what aspects. Comment. 4. List the advantages of using a cycle menu in food preparation. Once the food is cooked, it has to reach the customer in time with its quality intact. This involves an efficient packing system and a fast delivery procedure. The service operation, therefore, starts with the packing and ends with delivery. Let us now read about Lakshmi's experience with packing and delivery of packed lunches. Packing. The success of Lakshmi's enterprise depended on how effective she would be in serving the meals hot to the customer. Therefore, she had to decide on the packing material which would keep the food warm and was within the expenditure earmarked. For this purpose, under the head Overhead Expenditure, Lakshmi chose to use a cardboard carton to pack the total menu. Items like rice, paranka, and vegetables were to be packed in aluminium foil to keep them warm, and gravy items such as dal and raita to be put in plastic cups with a tight lid. Items like pickle, chutney and salad were to be packed in polythene sachets. The size of the carton was determined with the aim of packing the whole food compactly in it to prevent the items from getting dislodged and mixed up during transportation. The cost incurred for packing material came to approximately 60 paise per person. She realized that there is a wide difference in purchasing these items from the wholesale market than from the retail market. She, therefore, bought these items in bulk to meet the requirements for a month. Having obtained the packing material, now let us see how Lakshmi planned her packing procedure. The food after preparation was transferred into steel containers to keep it warm. It was then brought to the enclosed veranda where a table was available for doing the packing. On this about 25 packets could be packed at a time. Lakshmi adopted an assembly line type of packing. In the assembly line type of packing, each delivery boy is responsible for packing one item and the helper then puts the packed item into the carton to make it complete. Each item was packed into the respective packing material by one person using standardized measuring ladle spoons. The packed items were then assembled in the carton. The delivery boys were responsible for the packing and assembly was done by the helper. Lakshmi supervised and checked the operation to ensure that each packet contained all the items and was fit enough for safe delivery. In packing the menu, vegetable pulav and pakodi raita, the pakodi raita was packed into plastic containers. The vegetable pulav was portioned out into aluminium foil sheets of approximate 121x8 size and its edges were sealed to make it a tight packet. This packet was good enough to be used as a container from which food could be eaten. The pre-packed menu items were packed in the carton along with a plastic spoon compactly to minimize movement of the items within the carton. The cartons were then packed in a plastic crate which was used for transporting the cartons. The packing materials used here were used with the objective that it would occupy less space for storage, it would be light in weight, easily disposable, low in cost and easy to use. Thus Lakshmi was able to provide warm food and also hygienically by making a right choice of packing materials. Once the food items were packed, the next thing Lakshmi did was to ensure prompt delivery. Let us see how she went about this activity. Delivery. The delivery of the packed lunches included the right estimation of the number of packets to be made, its prompt delivery to the persons who have ordered them and the right accounting of the cash received as sales money. Lakshmi ascertained the number of packets to be served by taking advance booking from the employees in the beginning of the month. The settlement of the accounts was done in the end of the month on the day the employees received their salary. Lakshmi had instructed the delivery boys to ascertain from the employees whether anybody would like to have lunch on the next day. The delivery boys were to pass on this information to Lakshmi every day to enable her to make the necessary changes in the quantity of food to be prepared for the next day. Lakshmi planned her production in such a manner that the food was ready at 11:00 am. After this the packing was completed in 1 hour. The food was sent for transport at 12 noon. The office complex was about 2 kilometers away and it took about 30 to 45 minutes for the food to reach the complex by a cycle cart and by 1:00 pm. The lunch packets reached the table of the employees. An important phase of delivery is the proper account of the sales money. This was maintained properly by keeping a register in which the name of the customer and the number of packets he took in a month was recorded. Based on this information the money due from the customer was worked out. Casual orders were supplied to the customers on immediate payment. The delivery boys were to account for the lunch packets handed over to them by giving the number of packets supplied to the monthly customers and the number of packets sold to casual customers on payment. The cash thus collected was to be daily handed over to Lakshmi. From this exercise, it is evident that Lakshmi resorted to supplying the food packets on credit to regular customers and against cash to casual customers and kept a proper account of every packet of food sold. The above discussion documents Lakshmi's experience in packing and delivery of food items. If you were to start a food service establishment and serve packed lunches to customers, what points you would keep in mind while serving food? Can you list them? Recap 5. List the activities specific to the service function. You can tally your points with those given in Recap 5. Recap 5. The points to be considered while packing and delivery of food items include: A. Decide on the packaging material, depending on the menu. B. Plan the packaging procedure, i.e., assembly line type or any other. C. Ensure prompt delivery. D. Maintain an account of the cash received as sale money. In the previous section, you have learned how Lakshmi managed the food material. efficiently. You would have observed that at every phase it was not due to her effort alone, but due to the combined effort of all her employees, that she could achieve success. Therefore, it can be said that to achieve her objective she had to rely on yet another resource, i.e., human resources and teamwork. How did Lakshmi recruit the manpower? How did she ensure good quality work from her workers? Read the following discussion to learn about these aspects. 27th February 2003, Recruitment of Manpower. Lakshmi worked with the principle that human resource is the greatest asset of an institution, and only if it is properly utilized she would be able to fund her establishment successfully. She was able to achieve this through wise selection of workers, understanding the workers well and giving them the right remuneration and motivation. When Lakshmi planned her manpower, she decided to appoint a full-time helper and 2 part-time workers. While selecting the helper she saw to it that the person had the skill and aptitude and also was in need of a job. She selected a man who was working in a nearby dhaba and was known to her to ensure loyalty and commitment. For the job of delivery boys, she was able to get 2 young boys who were attending evening school and wanted to earn a living. These boys were brought to her by the lady, who was working as part-time help at her home. She selected them as they were accessible and accountable through her part-time help, and assurance from them that on the days they cannot come due to illness or their school examinations, substitutes would be arranged by them. This gave confidence to Lakshmi to ensure smooth operation without any break. She could engage these 2 young boys, without any experience of any kind, as the job did not call for any skill and they were willing to learn the job. From Lakshmi's experience, it is evident that while selecting manpower what one should ensure is that the person should have the skills and aptitude to do the job. Next, according to the skill and experience decide on the wages. Let us see what wages Lakshmi decided for her workers. Remuneration. Having selected the workers, Lakshmi fixed the wages with them. The helper was appointed at a wage of Rs. 900 per month with an increment of Rs. 25 per year. The delivery boys were employed for Rs. Sup per month. Other than the wages, Lakshmi gave them 1 day off in a week and allowed all government holidays. The helper was given free accommodation in the outhouse and free meals during the day. The boys were given free meals and a pair of uniforms. Lakshmi was able to instill in the workers loyalty and commitment by giving them some responsibility in doing small purchases and money collection, and also took them into confidence while making any decision. She was able to make them put in their best efforts by delegating responsibility and assigning specific work to each one of them. Let us learn how Lakshmi delegated responsibility to her workers. Allotment of duties. The workers were able to perform their jobs well because Lakshmi had delegated responsibility and assigned specific work to each one of them. This, coupled with proper supervision and motivation, helped the workers work efficiently. The work that each of them was to do was written down as a job description, so as to eliminate any doubt, confusion or ambiguity of jobs to be done. This work schedule was formulated taking into consideration the time needed for each job and providing breaks so as to avoid fatigue. The chart giving the work schedule of the helper is given below. Chart 8. Work schedule of the helper. Look at the screen for table content. Likewise, the work schedule for the 2 delivery boys was also prepared. Here workers became efficient because they had clear-cut instructions to follow, personal relations were well maintained and the morale of the persons were kept very high. Lakshmi was even equipped to meet any emergency, when the helper failed to turn up, as she could utilize her maid servant in his place at short notice. The delivery boys took upon themselves the responsibility to send substitutes when they could not come. Here you see that a happy and contented worker will contribute productively to the efficient running of a unit. Check your progress exercise 4. 1. What steps can Lakshmi take to ensure that her delivery system is good? 2. List the criteria one should keep in mind while selecting manpower. Providing a suitable workspace also improves work efficiency. Lakshmi was very well aware about this. So she provided a workplace which was very conducive to efficient working. Lakshmi provided adequate storage space, a kitchen equipped with counters, workspace, equipment to handle large volumes of food materials, and an ideal place for packing to her workers. The layout of the kitchen was sufficient enough for 4 people to work in it. The work centers were arranged in a logical sequence so that the work moved smoothly from pre-preparation to preparation and service. Facilities like adequate lighting and exhaust fans ensured good working conditions. Thus you see that the workspace, facilities and equipment also contribute to the efficient working of the operation. Similarly, the importance of time management also cannot be underestimated. You observed how Lakshmi planned her work in the management of the food material by drawing out the production schedule and timely delivery of the food. She could effectively use the employees' time by formulating a work schedule. 27.3 Learning from Lakshmi's experience. In this unit, we learned how Lakshmi has planned each phase of her operation, undertook its execution. She first purchased the equipments and adopted suitable purchase methods for procuring the raw food material, and then received and stored them. Finally, through good management, she was able to make the packed meals and lunches. This became possible through wise selection and delegation of duties to her employees. The employees were able to perform well because they had a good relationship and a conducive workplace. Here you see Lakshmi's efficient utilization of her resources. 27.4 Glossary. Credit system, a system in which one can use a service good now and can pay for it at a later date. Work schedule, plans that distribute the work among different individuals within a food service unit in order to carry out specific activities according to a set time and procedural requirements. Cycle menu, a set or different sets of carefully planned menus that is rotated at fixed intervals of time. Edible portion refers to food as it will be finally available in edible form after processing. Job description. This is a list of the duties and responsibilities that are indicative of the types of skills required for the job. Thank you. We will see you in the next video.